Hi fellas, Dan from Masculine Evolution here. I want to talk about masculine embodiment. What is it? Why would one want to develop it in his own life? Most men these days, especially in the West, have a lot of feminine energy, and in an unhealthy way. Feminine energy is very good, in my opinion, to develop, but so much of self-development these days, including so many workshops that I see being run, are all encouraging men to get into their heart and learn to be more loving and feminine, essentially. Now, that's all well and good, but in my opinion, unless you've developed a more masculine frame, then going into your heart and learning to be more loving and caring and soft will make you very top heavy with your energy. When I say top heavy, I mean because there's so much work around the heart and it's all this sort of like caring energy up here. The energy that's generated is up in the upper body, which makes their energy quite top heavy. And that tends to mean that they haven't yet developed more of a solid masculine frame that allows them to feel more stable and secure and grounded. Now, just like if you imagine a tree, in order for the tree to grow its leaves and for it to blossom, it first needs to grow its roots down into the ground in order to develop that deep sense of stability. So when the weather comes and the storms come, the tree doesn't move. The tree remains solid in the ground, yet at the same time, in the upper part of the tree, you could say the tree's upper body, there's more flow. It moves with the wind, and there's more colour. It's more pretty. There's nothing that pretty about a solid tree trunk, but it's solid, and that's the masculine part of the tree, you could say. And then the nice leaves that flow with the wind are the feminine. So although this channel's called Masculine Evolution, part of evolving as a man is to balance out the masculine and the feminine energy within, so you become more of a whole balanced individual. But one thing I really promote is developing your masculine first. So how would that look? If you think of a river, you've got the river itself, the water, and then you've got the river bank. So you can see and visualize how the water is the feminine, because the water is always moving, and the solid, still riverbank is the masculine. Now, in order for the river to flow, it needs the riverbank, and the riverbank contains the water, the feminine, and it gives it a channel for which it to flow through. So the river bank needs the water, and the water needs the river bank in order for it to be considered a river, essentially. So we can look at our own bodies not just like a tree, but like a river, as random as that might sound to some. And a man who has developed his energy in his, not just his lower body, but in his back, is a man who has quite a solid masculine frame. Now, in society, you'll probably have a lot of people who you know, friends, family, who thinks it's weird to develop a masculine frame. Why would you want to do that? But in my opinion, it's a very, very important thing to do in order to live a more authentic life where you can start speaking your truth and going after the things that you really want in life, because the more grounded you are and the more solid you are, the less you're trying to please other people, the less you're trying to live by other people's expectations. And the reason that is because you're in your head less. And it's your head, it's your brain, your thoughts that are your conditioning. And when we're more in our thoughts, not only are we more in our animal nature, so we're more in survival, we're more likely to be living out our traumas and living out our conditioning and the expectations that have been put on us by society, friends, family, teachers, all of it. And it's not a good way to live, it's really not. So I've recently learned how to become more embodied in my back and in my legs and developing a more grounded presence. I don't know if it will show on these videos or not, but I've been doing a lot of work, and it just allows me to to feel better. I just feel so much better when I'm more grounded, and it's like without effort, without trying, I can naturally start feeling my body more. And the way I do it is by spending as much time as I can just feeling in to my legs to begin with. So as I'm walking now, I can really feel the soles of my feet as I take each step on the ground. And each step I take, I can feel the muscles and I can feel my legs that start to activate with each step. So as I put my right foot down on the floor, I start with the heel and then I move forward to the balls of my feet. I can feel the muscles either side of my shin start to activate. I can also feel my calves start to activate. So now there's some activation in the legs. And as I step forward, I can feel the activation move up the front of my legs into my quads, and I can feel the hamstrings as well. So there's like a full activation of the leg from the foot going all the way up to the hips, essentially. Now when you get really quiet and you start to really feel into where else is being activated in the body, we can see that as we take steps, there's also activation in the back as well. So I can feel the back activating either side of the spine as I take each step. Now, what a lot of people will do when they're walking is be caught up in their head thinking about whatever's coming to them, you know, whether it's issues that they're dealing with, what they're going to eat for dinner, unspoken conversations, all the stuff that puts us in our head. Or we might be listening to music, we might be listening to podcasts, we might be just writing messages as we're walking. And there's nothing wrong with any of that, but it does create a lot of activity up here. You know, I often go walking listening to podcasts, so I'm not suggesting not to do that, but I also like to balance it out without listening to podcasts. Sometimes I listen to calming music, sometimes I listen to no music at all. And I'm literally just feeling the activation in my body as I take each step, and I'm allowing my breath to drop down into my belly as I do that. Your back is the river bank, and it, like the river bank contains the water, the feminine essence that's moving, your back, the solid part of you, is holding space for your front, which are your feelings, your emotions, which is moving, right? Emotions are energy in motion. So this is where we feel most of our emotions. Interestingly, you can actually bring up emotions from different parts of your body, including your feet. But the majority of the emotions that we actually feel are around the heart, around the solar plexus and the belly. So that's your feminine. That's like the river. So the more developed you are in your masculine, the more safe you will feel to start feeling your emotions at the front. One way you can do that is to start, as you start connecting with your back more. Now you might try it now as you watch this video. Can you feel your back? And it may be that you can't. And what will happen with most people is they'll just think that they can't do it and then give up. But it takes time to develop more feeling and sensations in the areas that you haven't been putting your awareness in. So you might want to just start working with your feet and with your legs, and then working up to your back as you can feel the activation. But it will really allow you to develop more of a solid frame, because you're thinking less, you're less reactional to the world, and that is the masculine is more still, right? When you're more still and you're more grounded, you're more likely to go after what you want. You're more likely to speak your truth. You're more likely to go towards your goals. And when the emotions come up that are currently in the way of you achieving your goals, now you've got more of a solid frame. You're in a much better position to deal with the emotions, to feel the emotions, rather than allowing them to put you up in your head, where you basically disassociate and avoid the feelings, and or just turn back round and retreat back to safety, go back to your coping mechanisms and avoid what could be a much more interesting life filled with more experiences. But you don't ever get there because you're not willing to, or currently able to, feel the uncomfortable emotions that come up. But you have the ability to feel everything. You were born with the courage to feel everything. Don't allow your conditioned mind to tell you you can't, because you fucking can. And when you start doing it more, you'll build up more courage, you'll start seeing how you're able to. And then you can really start setting some strong intentions in your life and allowing you to move forward. You probably don't have many people in your life that are going to encourage this sort of work and promote it, because not everyone wants to see a powerful man. You might have friends that are afraid of their own power, as you are, as I am afraid of the power I have within me. And so if you start becoming more powerful, then people around you might start unconsciously, without even being aware, wanting to push that power down in you because it's uncomfortable for them. And that's where this work can get a bit tricky, because a lot of us have been conditioned to ensure that everyone around us feels comfortable and okay. And so we have to suppress who we are to not trigger other people. But the more you do this work, the more you understand that you're on this planet and you're here for you above everyone else. No matter what your mind might tell you, you're here for you above everyone else. Are you going to allow other people, are you going to allow their conditioning and their expectations of you stop you from living the life that you know you're here to live? My recommendation is you don't do that. You get clear on what you want. A lot of people don't actually know what they want in life, and that's why they never quite get there. They have vague ideas, but it's not solid. It's not embodied. You can embody your desires and feel them in your body. You can start moving towards them with more conviction, with a more solid masculine frame. It's going to allow you to have a much more enjoyable life. You're going to love it so much more, guys. Do subscribe. Please put any comments or likes, share this video far. If you want to do some private work with me and learn how to develop a more masculine frame, the details are in the section below. Take care, guys.